Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday. It is the 18th of September 2024, currently 10 a.m. on the West Coast, about midday on the East Coast. First of all, remember this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees the market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. All right, so open this up to YouTube again. Usually this is inside the members area. The members area has been kicking ass lately, and it's going to continue to just dominate. Like endless posts, great setups, awesome discussion, and I've been accumulating a massive library of past examples of great setups from guys like Mark Minervini, Kulamagi, all those guys, right? It's a work in progress. I'm posting the chart, the setup, obviously, the stop loss, and kind of where I can figure it out. I'm posting, where he's getting out of these things, okay, how he kind of trails out. So there's just going to be a priceless library of trade examples from these guys, right? And it's just no excuse to not educate yourself now. All in one place, easy to read. You can ask questions, whatever you want. So that's a work in progress, and just really a kick-ass area, members area that we're building in there. Now, just some setups that I've been talking about lately before I jump into some new stuff, right? HUM continues to go, pretty good. Obviously an amazing trade so far, but I've taken partials on it, hanging in the rest. Zero I talked about last week and we're talking about for ages. Tight little base here, blue sky above it, broke out. Obviously it's a leading stock, right? YUMC spoke about a week or two ago, and there was an awesome post in the forum by someone, sorry, I forget the bit, a few days ago, just breaking this down in a kind of a different way to what I have on Breakout Wednesday. It was really good. But it poked its head above, went back down, and it's now break even. Yeah, the overall trend on this, I don't usually like taking these because the 200-day exponential return today is still sloping down. The 100 and the 50 have only really just gone flat, and so the momentum in that major trend isn't really there for me, and this is a much lower probability entry. But the fact that just what this has going for it, like this base here, how tight it is, the big volume on the breakaway, it's just a smaller position for me for sure. But this is one of those ones that maybe it's only got a 30% chance of success. But this could fling up here into the 50, 60 zone, and so the risk reward on it is insane. Okay, so got a smaller position on that. Now let's just keep going. CUE obviously had a massive dividend here. I'm hanging in there. Well, it's very thin, so it's just kind of like got to be really patient with that. But Bank Divvy moved on. PME been one of my major trades lately. And I did trim a little bit, not on this down day here, but on the next day, gapped up, had a nice day, this was yesterday I'm talking about. Got out about 166.20 or something like that, but I've still got 50% of that position. So, this is just, I've talked about it too much, and I'll stop crapping on. I'm just going to move on because a lot to talk about today, but just classic, right? Leading stock, tight base. That base wasn't overly long, would have liked it longer, but just so tight. Like this pullback here, if you look at this uptrend here and then the pullback, how tight is that, right? If you get your fibs out, I don't really use fibs that much, but I just like having the retracement. Like that is, that's like I stuffed that up a bit. I went too high, didn't I? But that is like it's not even a 20% retracement of that move, which is perfect, okay? Such a tight little retracement, just so tight, bang, leading stock, and it just had print money written all over it, and these just keep happening time and time again. But I just think that the probability of success is so much greater when you're dealing with leading stocks, and I don't give a shit about the price, right? $160, $1,000, $20, $2, 20 cents. I don't give a crap as long as it's a stock that is just dominating on relative strength. And shit, where's that gone here? As long as the relative strength is high. This is a 98% relative strength stock. It is dominating 98% of stocks over the last 12 months on the ASX. Okay, so that's where I want my money, in the leaders. And just some other stuff to talk about. ELD, as I talked about last week, is not for me because it's it's a slow moving thing. It's too slow moving for me. But even though I do trade slow moving stocks sometimes, but that did fake out a little bit, which is a pain in the ass for those that are in that. But anyway. And what else is there? LLC had a massive run. I didn't get in that yet, but kind of broke out and it's been going up. I do think it's worth keeping an eye on these property developers. You know, for reasons I talked about last week, and the Amazon trade's going really well. All right, kind of broken out here, and it's gone pretty good. So so far. Now there's some stuff I want to do. I'm going to do it on 4 different exchanges, and it's a scan I love doing. You go into candlesticks. Scan for more than 3 inside bars. Okay, nothing that, you know, it has to be above its 50 exponential moving average, and I don't want to look at anything that's trading less than say 100,000 shares. Okay, and then I'm going to do that on all the 4 exchanges I trade. So let's just do it on the ASX first, and this is on weekly data, right? I'm not worried. I'm not doing it on daily data, just weekly data. All right, so the results come up, and obviously it's just looking for inside bars. So for those new to trading, it's any stock that's had an inside bar for 3 days. So I'm just going to find an example that's kind of easy to chat about. So AF1, right? You got like the mother candle here, or here really, but here, and then all these bars are inside it. Okay, that's not, you know, a trade I'm really looking at, obviously, but the reason I like doing this scan is that it does find VCPs, right? Volume contraction patterns that are setting up, because we're just looking for stocks that are tightening, right? And then I'm putting that filter in of anything above a 50 exponential moving average, so I'm really only finding stocks in uptrends. And then I turn this into the play function, so I double click this arrow, and then I just let the stocks just scroll through for me, okay? And I just sit back and just look for anything that I think is setting up in a nice base that isn't overextended with nice VCP, all right? Now, just to move things along, one stock that came up in the ASX scan is MAH. Now, MAH probably is a little overextended if you're looking at that on a weekly chart. Okay, on a daily chart, you know, this thing is just basing up here. I need, for these high tight, you know, bases, I need 20 days minimum in there, which is nearly given us. And so now this wouldn't be something that I'm having a home run trying to stick in it for ages, because, you know, to do that I really need to be getting in down here more, okay, on the first break. But it would be certainly something that I would entertain a quick trade on if that can just give me a little bit more and fulfill my rules there. All right. The next one is TPW that came up, and there's heaps that came up, and I'm just talking about a few interesting ones. So on weekly data, okay, you can see these are all inside bars. We had this big weekly candle, even this one, and they're all inside this one, right? And then if we go to daily, so they're all inside this candle here, right? This one I'm showing. And then this is tightening, okay? You know, the moving average is starting to come together. It's kind of tightening on top of this 21 exponential, and it's just giving a decent risk reward setup there on TPW. So that's on the watch list, and it's one of those stocks that, you know, setups that I'm watching closely, and, you know, will take if, you know, that fulfills its criteria and just starts breaking out here and volume comes in, all that sort of stuff. Now let's just do that scan on NASDAQ, right? And I'm just going to talk about 2 stocks on NASDAQ. There's heaps in there. There's 99, you know, stocks found, but here HDAR, you know, Turtle Beach Corp, is kind of just, you can see here, right, big downtrend, sideways, uptrend, and now basing right on top of all its moving averages. What I liked about it when I was scrolling through it on play function was just this massive resistance line that's forming, okay, and just the tightening below it now. And so that's a weekly data, this is daily data, and, you know, these setups are pretty high probability when they're in the right, you know, stage of the cycle of that stock, right? So this is kind of a huge stage 1 base, and it's forming here. And my idea, you know, if this fulfills the criteria, will be to get in here with a stop here, and you relatively tight stop with the opportunity to ride this guy up here, okay? So that's one. And then the other one that came up was kind of a continuation base in INTU, that if you have a look here, obviously there's some, here's a candle, they're all inside this candle. So, you know, really it's just finding tight action, isn't it? And this has just got blue sky above it, and it's just base in here, and, you know, that's turning into a pretty big base, isn't it? So this is a weekly chart, so we're talking about a, you know, a 12-week base already on INTU, okay? So it's just finding me a big base there with blue sky. Now let's do that quickly on NYSE data. Okay, so here's New York Stock Exchange data now, and Here's one example, DCO, okay, it's just got, obviously some other candle here and all these inside bars next to it. It's blue sky above it. We look at a daily chart, it's starting to tighten. That's not ready for me yet. I just need a little bit more tight in there, but it's certainly getting there. If ever I'm wondering if something's ready, like the Bollinger Bands is a great tool, okay? I really want to see compression of these Bollinger Bands, like what happened here. See how it quite hasn't compressed yet? Whereas here it did, okay, and then have this nice move. It's just the Bollinger Bands really is a great indicator when used correctly. I just think that expansion follows contraction, okay, and if for something to be basing long enough that ideally these Bollinger Bands need to be compressing on a daily chart, ideally on a weekly too, but definitely on a daily, and then that's where you have the most reliable moves coming from. All right, and then the other one, just quickly on the NYSE, is TAC. Okay, so let's just get rid of this Bollinger Band again. TAC came up in the inside bar thing. Okay, you've got the candle here, or inside that candle, these bars, right? And then you've got obviously a big saucer cup and handle forming here, massive saucer, kind of having a tight right hand side there. If that can just grind out there, you can have a stop here, enter here, and obviously risk reward on that's fantastic. Okay, so it's just this scan just finds me winning like amazing setups, right? I'm trying to do it a couple times a week. Then on the Toronto Stock Exchange, you can do that scan yourself on the Toronto Stock Exchange, but there's only had 38 fine stocks that come up, and FIL was one of those. Okay, it's obviously in an uptrend. The TSX is a bit like the ASX, right? It's dominated by fast-moving mining stocks. You can have a lot of excitement trading TSX stocks, and here's just this guy that's basing up here at all-time highs. All right, and that can tighten up. Continuation base, that'd be sweet. All right, so that's a scan I'm doing a lot of now. Just before I get out of here, Tesla is potentially basing again. We're talking on the forum back here when Tesla was basing in this Davis box, right? Let's just quickly find it here. All right, so this was a box that we were talking about on the forum. Someone else posted it, and it was basing away, exploded out of there, and bang. Okay, it's basing again. It's got a nice little box here, and what I like about the high of this box at 235 is it pretty much coincides with this high back here of 234.68. Took it out by a few pips and then based. Okay, and we've got this break of this down sloping resistance line, and I'm definitely watching this Tesla setup. Okay, if we just get our moving averages back on there, they're all in agreement. And I think it's interesting, like for those going in and studying the mini Vinny posts that I'm doing, it's just the moving averages always line up for him. Okay, he doesn't trade shit that's going down below its 200 day. He just doesn't. He doesn't do it. I mean, I'm sure I could find some examples of him doing it, but it's very rare. It's just so disciplined. Most people don't have that discipline. Even the YUMC trade I'm in right now, I don't know if that's something he would take. I'm in it, but should I be? Is it? Am I breaking my rules because this is going down still? Time will tell. But it's just have a look at his setups. They all look exactly the same, right? Really, they're in uptrends. All the moving averages sloping up. They've got tight VCP. It's just a break in an uptrend, and then he's just joining in for the ride. Okay, so simple. It just requires discipline to stick to it. If you've got the discipline and you can have consistent exit rules, then it's a license to print money. Okay. So what was I crapping on about? Yeah, the Tesla trade. Tesla setting up there in its Davis box and massive resistance up here. And then just on the self-managed super fund side of things, I was been chatting about for ages that I wanted to get some wire if it came into this buy zone. It came to the buy zone and I missed it. Typical, hey. But yeah, definitely watching the copper stuff. I just, it's hard to know when these things are going to bounce, but I just feel like this Head and Shoulders played out in BH and it's due for a bounce. I had a flush out here. I'm not going to trade them and try and play the bounce on it, but I think maybe they're due. Anyway, that's it this week, guys. I'll be back next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.